Greetings and welcome to Preparing for a Global Health Career. This is brought to you by UIC SPH Career Services. Let's go ahead and get started. So some of the topics that we're going to focus on today are three key areas. So first, we'll talk a little bit about self-reflection and exploration. Everyone is in a different level in their global health career, whether you've already had global health experiences, and you're trying to find ways to package your marketing tools, or perhaps you are exploring a global health career and have not yet done any type of global work, or you are in your second year of your program and you're ready to start thinking about fellowships. So I think self-reflection is very important, and there's also going to be exploration. So today's presentation, I will provide some tools and various websites that are clickable throughout this presentation, where you'll be able to explore further different companies, different organizations, and opportunities. We will also be covering self-marketing, your branding. So if you are applying for positions with a global health focus, really building that resume and cover letter to tailored international work. We will also be talking about LinkedIn and developing your professional brand online, as well as making connections and really building your global health network. I will cover ways that you can request and conduct an informational interview, as well as researching organizations and connecting with potential employers on LinkedIn. So let's get started. So it's important for you to think about, why global health? What is it that is driving you toward this field of experience? When you are applying to various positions, whether it be fellowships or any type of jobs or even scholarships, they're going to ask, why are you interested in that particular area? So the self-reflection component is extremely important through this process. So really thinking about your motivation for international health work. Or perhaps you've done local work that can translate to showcase that you have experience working with culturally diverse audiences or working in areas that are global health driven. So really thinking about those experiences. What are some of your specialties of interest? What type of organizations interest you? And we'll go into that a little bit about the different types of organizations that are available that provide that type of work. Again, whether it's local, national, or global. You also want to think about your mentors. Who are your role models? Who can support you through this process and provide some insight? One of the places that I recommend is called Global Health Delivery Online. So this is a diverse online global community where people come in and they blog or they talk about various things global health. So I provide the link to that site so that you can explore that a little bit further. So if you're in the process of just figuring out what is out there, as you can see, there's an abundance of opportunities. You really want to think about the type of area that you want to explore. That could be a nonprofit, a non-governmental organization. You can be looking into perhaps healthcare consulting organizations. Perhaps you're interested in multilateral and bilateral organizations, or you're looking into healthcare foundations. So these are just a few select organizations for the purposes of this presentation, but you can see that there are a variety of opportunities. And again, this presentation has the clickable links so that you can explore each organization at your leisure. And then also, there is a YouTube channel, and there's a particular video called Jobs in Global Health. I would highly recommend that you explore that and you take a look. And also, if you look here on the right-hand side, you'll see Finding the Right Job in Global Health. So there are a lot of tools and resources to support you through that process. So what are companies looking for? There was a survey that was conducted by the Global Health Fellows Program too, and these are the following skills for success in global health careers. Now, the people that were surveyed were 49 project directors from 32 organizations funded by the USAID's Global Health Bureau. So some of the skills that they're looking for are program management, monitoring and evaluation, communication with client, counterpart, and community, strategy and project design, collaboration and teamwork. Now, this is important because if you have, maybe limited experience in the field, but have other experiences and maybe you're a career changer, some of these can be transferable skills. So really thinking about some of the skills that employers are looking for and really making a case when you are applying for positions or when you're writing your essays for those fellowship opportunities. So these are the top skills that they found through this survey. So you are in grad school and you're trying to figure out what is the best way to prepare. If you're a first year student and you are still exploring these options, one of the first things that you can do is start volunteering. Look into different organizations that perhaps work with diverse and diverse populations, or maybe a particular interest. Maybe you're interested in maternal and child health or HIV/AIDS, whatever type of topics or health issues and concerns that interest you. Find an organization where you can take a look at that and see how you can get involved. There's also volunteermatch.com. That's a great tool that you can explore to find opportunities. And as a UIC student, there are always volunteer opportunities that people can get involved in. Your internship. So here at SPH, you do your applied practice experience. There are opportunities to work globally. So think about what that would look like. Research faculty. We have amazing faculty at the School of Public Health. Look through the directory, look at their background, look at their bios. What type of research is intriguing to you? You can always reach out and conduct an informational interview. They may offer some insight or opportunities to work in an area or something that they're working on, or ways that you can get involved just to scratch the surface. Now, let's say you already have some experience and you are a second year and you're thinking about taking your global health experience to another level. There are an abundance of fellowship opportunities, and many of our SPH graduates do pursue some of these fellowships. So the earlier that you can explore fellowship opportunities, the better. So that way you can familiarize yourself with some of the deadlines. Now, if you find some fellowships of interest and the deadline has passed, let's say you're a first year student, sign up for their newsletter. You will get an email letting you know of possible events or maybe info sessions, and a lot of them I know can be online, or conferences or other things that you can really learn more about what the fellowship entails. And again, volunteering with perhaps immigrant and refugee communities. And last but not least, think about attending a global health conference, such as Unite for Sight's Global Health and Innovation Summit, which I know is actually coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And yes, and they even have a nice short video here. So it's coming up April 13th and 14th of this year. So I think that's great. Okay. So here again are some other potential fellowships. I know at SPH, many of our students do pursue things like the Global Health Corps, Global Health Fellows 2, and there are other opportunities across the division. So if you're more EPI-focused or CHS, there are other areas that you can explore that are more your fit. And I know that we've had alumni that have completed most, if not all, of these type of opportunities. So again, I am attaching this link so that you can explore additional fellowship, training, and internship opportunities around the world. Okay, so again, the first part was more exploration and thinking about, where the information is available and the different types of opportunities. So now let's say you have selected an opportunity, you've refined your areas of interest, and you're thinking about your applied practice experience, or you're thinking about a fellowship. You're going to have to submit either a resume or a CV. Now, with a CV, that is typically used in academia, and I know sometimes people use that interchangeably, but a CV typically contains, your life history, so they call it, and that entails your publications, your teaching experience, professional experience, conference presentations. If you're a master level student, you most likely will have a resume. So one of the first things that I always recommend professionals to have is a master resume. So this master resume is something that you save on, your shared, I don't know, your Google Docs, anywhere you want to save this resume that is at your fingertips. So I like to put mine on a Google Doc. So this will capture all of your experience. So this is for your eyes only, but trust me when I tell you, it is going to be extremely helpful to document your experience. Because later on, you'll be tailoring your resume for each and every opportunity that you are pursuing. So think about your experience from the paid and non-paid. Even if it's non-paid and you were part of an experience, that counts. Think about your languages. Even if you're not proficient, but let's say you have tapped into 3 or 4 languages and your basic knowledge of. I think that shows that you have an interest in languages and that you are that's an area of passion, or maybe languages come easy to you. So definitely document your language proficiencies. If you've already completed your applied practice experience, flesh out that section. What are some of the things that you contributed to while in that experience? Any special course projects at SPH with the curriculum? I know that students are involved in a lot of practical projects. Sometimes they're semester long, sometimes a year long. You want to get credit for that from the experience standpoint, so beyond the academic standpoint. So write those down. Of course, if you have any study abroad from undergrad, think about what you did there. I know I've had students where they've done study abroad, but they've also volunteered in the country where they were placed. So that all of that can count. Any type of activities or committees that you're involved in, document your technical skills. Sometimes technical skills come very easy to certain people, so they downplay those technical skills. So list out the different types of softwares or databases that you're familiar with. Again, volunteer work, any type of academics, if you've been published or maybe you were a co-author, write that down. Any type of leadership, perhaps you are or were the president of a student organization, definitely include that. I know some of these job postings or fellowships look for leadership skills. So this is a way to convey that. And then if you've presented at any conferences, not necessarily that you've attended the conference, but if you have presented, post a presentation, certainly include that. And of course, any other fellowships, or if you were in AmeriCorps, definitely include that on your master resume. So before you actually, start distributing the resume, you never want to submit a generic resume. You always want to think about your audience. What are they looking for? What qualifications, what attributes? And that information is given to you either through the job posting or, again, the fellowship. Really read about their mission, their values, their vision, and how does that align with your background, your experience, and your future goals. So really think about your target audience. So when you have your resume, again, tailor it. Use terminology from the description. Earlier, I talked about some of the skills that employers are looking for. Use that language in your application materials. When you have a resume, you want to provide a summary that emphasizes your strongest credentials. So if you're applying to something where they're looking for people that have experience working with, let's say, Spanish-speaking populations, and you have that experience, put that at the top and use that summary wisely. The summary is not fluff. You do not have to include an objective, so that's not something that you are that we have that we use on resumes anymore. So definitely have some type of summary or profile. And along with this presentation, you'll also have access to the career resource tool for this, and there are some sample resumes and a global health sample resume on there as well. Now, it's okay to have a 2-page resume unless it's specified by the employer. They say, we only want to see 1 page. I rarely ever see that. And working with public health professionals, with different public health professionals, even early careerists, a lot of times I think they do merit a two-page resume because people have extensive experience that is relevant. So I always say that if you have a two-page resume that has information that showcases experience, that highlights your skills to a particular position, and if it's 2 pages, by all means. Now, I will say that you want to always prioritize your experience. So if you have, global health experience, for instance, of course, that would be one of the first things that I would put on the resume. So you would have, your profile, your skills, perhaps your education, and then lead with global health experience. Don't downplay volunteer work. You can even have relevant experience. So you can always categorize as you see fit. Use concise bullet points. When you are writing your resume, you should not have a position that has 10 to 15 bullet points. That can be overwhelming to the reader. You want to have concise bullet points that highlight achievements and contributions. So avoid things like responsible for, assisted with, duties included. Employers want to see action. They want to know what you accomplished. Now, let's say you were in a role that maybe you didn't have an opportunity to contribute at that level, but maybe showcase how you were instrumental in, or perhaps you contributed to a project, or you were involved in a 5-member team to work on a project towards XYZ. So even like you were working on something, but the goal, what was the end goal? So think about some of those things, and we'll get into it in a little bit. And again, you'll have information on that in that resource tool. Quantify your experience. Anytime that you can use numbers to really capture the experience, I highly recommend that you do that. If you served 100 individuals, or you had a caseload of 15 clients per day, whatever the case is, and you can use numbers, percentages, definitely do it. And again, academic projects count when you're talking about some of your experience. Include skills. A lot of times if you're applying online, you have to get through this applicant tracking system. It's a robot trying to figure out if you have the initial skills. So in order to get through that process, you want to have those keywords on your resume. Again, if you have particular languages or technical skills, software, definitely include it. There was a situation where there was someone that had put that she had experience working in Argentina, and the employer was looking for someone that was bilingual, that spoke Spanish, but she did not get to the applicant tracking system because even though she put that she worked, abroad, there's no assumption. Like people can't make assumptions, and systems can't read that. So you really have to connect the dots, and sometimes it has to be verbatim. Again, as far as the global health resume, include bullet points that showcase cross-cultural skills. Anything that highlights the way that you established relationships, established trust. Maybe you adapted to a new language, and ways that you communicated with locals. Avoid jargon and acronyms. If you can spell it out, by all means, try to spell things out. And again, you can include other experience that you feel is relevant. Volunteer, community service, memberships, affiliations, and so on. Some individuals, let's say they don't have a ton of experience, but they do have some relevant coursework. You can certainly include a relevant coursework section on your resume. I always like to give the example of, let's say you're a community health sciences person, but you are taking epidemiology courses. Include that because it shows that you are trying to gain an understanding on a different area or build your skill set beyond your community health science training. Okay, so now you have your resume, and many times they're going to ask for a cover letter. Or when you're writing your essays, I know a lot of these applications require essays, and sometimes they want 300 to 500 words. and it's 7 questions. So regardless if you are writing a cover letter or a personal statement, a lot of these things apply. Do your research. Never use the same generic letter for each position that you're applying for. They really want to gain understanding that the mission of that organization, really the goal, and how your background, your passion, your experiences, your interests, your goals, how that aligns with the mission of that organization. They want to see that you are going to be a good fit. So really thinking about why you are applying for this position. So this is why I say that self-reflection is extremely important, because that will be conveyed in your writing. What are some skills, strengths, and experiences that you possess that qualify you for the position? Think about transferable skills. That's extremely important. Tell a story. Share a career narrative. The cover letter or the personal statement is not a rehash of the resume. This is your opportunity to bring some of those experiences to life. You want to humanize your application. Integrate, again, those keywords, strengths, qualifications, accomplishments that relate to the employer's main points. So you have to connect the dots. You have access to these cover letter tools, and it's on the UIC SPH Career Services website. So I include, there's a Pinterest board, there's a cover letter format, a checklist, and then other resources that you can take a look at. Okay. Create your global brand on LinkedIn. So moving on to your online presence. This is a great platform for so many reasons. One, it is an opportunity for you to build your online brand, but it's also a great opportunity to learn about organizations and also learn about what some of our alumni are doing with their global health background. You can see career trajectories, which we will talk about in a little bit. But getting back to just starting off with your LinkedIn profile, I know that I've worked with many students and professionals that are very involved on LinkedIn, and I have people that just have an account and don't really dabble with the platform, and I have people that don't have an account at all. I will say that as working professionals, this is definitely a trend. I highly encourage people to be curious and explore LinkedIn because it can be very beneficial. So have a professional photo. Don't crop people out. You want it to be clean, and that people can see you, and that there's a nice clean background. Make the photo in color, that it has good resolution. If you can't take a professional headshot, you can always do it with your mobile device. That can definitely be appropriate. On LinkedIn, there you will have a tagline. Sometimes it automatically brings it up from your profile. So if you're a current student, or let's say you're working as I don't know, a sales associate at Whole Foods, it might come up as that. You want to modify that tagline to really reflect your background. So if you are a emerging public health professional or emerging global health professional, and then you can do like epidemiology or community health sciences, whatever the case may be, you want to update that. And I will show you some of these things. You want to create a summary that captures your global health background, and again, including foreign languages or experiences. Add relevant experiences and skills. LinkedIn allows you to include projects. It can be anything that you want that you feel really showcases your background, your experience, your professional experience. So any type of global projects that you have been involved with, definitely include that on your LinkedIn profile. Of course, ask for recommendations. And if you like to write, if you have a blog, you can publish posts on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go ahead and go through LinkedIn a little bit just to give you more of a visual of what I'm talking about. So of course, I'll use mine as an example here. So here's my full name. You can always include your full name. You want your name to appear the same as is your professional documents, your your resume, because you want people to be able to find you. And then here, this is where you can create some of those keywords. Keep in mind when people are searching for professionals on LinkedIn, they may just do some quick keyword searches. So if somebody's looking for a career coach, I would hope that my profile will pop up because I have that keyword up in the tagline. And then you can always separate them with some of these types. And then I had mentioned including a summary. This can be formatted and it can appear in any way that you want. This is your profile. Keep in mind that many individuals are going through LinkedIn through their mobile device. So you want to make it easy to read. You want it, you want to break up the experience, and you can devote each paragraph to whatever you feel is necessary or important to your intended audience. You can have bullet points. So for instance, here I have, career coaching sessions and workshops that I facilitate. This is important for me to have on my profile, but perhaps you want to showcase, global experiences or communities that I have worked with, organizations that I've been involved with, anything that you want to highlight or research interests include, anything you want, again, to highlight. And then I had mentioned in the experience section, you can include media. And then here with the little pencil, you can always edit and add experience. So I would say when you are including your experience, you can use bullet points or you can use narratives. Don't include everything. You don't have to go into so much detail. Just whatever you feel, again, is necessary. And I would highly recommend fleshing out every experience that you see is relevant. People will visit your profile and they want to get a snapshot of your background, what exactly you've done in some of your roles. And then clearly you will include your education, spell that out. If you have any types of trainings, you can include that on your LinkedIn. Now we get to the skills section. This is important because, again, these are some keyword searches. So people will be looking for people like you. And if you have on your skill that you have Microsoft Office, don't waste this space on some of those types of skills. I think it's important to have technical skills, but that can be, you could put those at the bottom. But whoever visits your profile, they're only going to see your top 3. So be strategic about what you want people to see are your top skills for your brand, and then people will endorse you, which is a nice thing because it backs up that you have the skill set that you claim to have. And some employers do look at that. Others may not. It's subjective. And then ask for recommendations. I always encourage people to ask for recommendations. So all you would have to do is search someone's name. And so I'll give an example here. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my colleague. So let's say, for instance, I want Jamie to recommend me. All I would have to do is go to her profile, click on more, and then request a recommendation. It's as easy as that. And now when you have to go through the prompts, and it'll just have a very generic, please recommend me on LinkedIn. Always customize. If you are asking for a recommendation, let people know what is your goal? So for instance, if I wanted Jamie to recommend me on our collaborative efforts in creating career programming, I would be very specific and say, hey Jamie, you and I work together on various career projects. Would you be able to write a brief recommendation? Notice I said brief. A brief recommendation on how we collaborated on some of the career programming. And that way that gives her a better idea, and it may not take her as long to write something because it's a clear request. So I challenge you to ask for at least 5 recommendations. And in those 5 recommendations, it could be supervisors, preceptors, colleagues, anyone that has really seen your value and that can speak to your strengths and to your contributions. And if you only get 1 or 2 recommendations, that is great. Because a lot of people, I know they don't take the time, but I definitely encourage you to try it out. Okay, moving on. So the next thing that we're going to focus on is navigating LinkedIn. So when you're on LinkedIn, you want to connect with professionals in your field. You want to follow companies. So for instance, let's say you're interested in vision. You can look at organizations or people that work there. You can look at jobs. You can filter it any way that you want. So one of the first things that I would recommend that you do is that if you have some organizations in mind, go ahead and follow them. I'm following them, so I don't have that option, but you'll have a button here that'll say follow the company. And then you get to see updates on what are some of the things that, what's happening with their organization. And many times they will post opportunities or they will post, events. Maybe there's some webinars. So it's helpful to follow companies. So of course you have to, that means that you would have to be checking your LinkedIn periodically. The other thing that I like about this is that once you are on the profile, you can scroll down on the right-hand side, and it might give you some affiliated pages or similar pages, so other organizations that may be of interest. And then this is how you continue exploring. So you can, take some time and take a look, and you start building your organizations. Now, the other thing that I wanted to also show you is if you, let's say, for instance, you're interested in the Global Health Fellows. So on LinkedIn, there are opportunities to connect, with groups. So here they actually have a page. So again, I would follow the page. But let me see, I'm going to try this. Global Health Fellows. Bear with me. Okay, so I have Global Health Fellows. So I'm going to go ahead and do groups. So you're going to see that there are various closed groups for some of the things that you may be interested in. So you would have to request to join. Now, bear in mind that a lot of these groups are close-knit and they want to maintain the integrity of the group. So the reason why they request you to join is whoever is monitoring this group, they're going to look at your profile and they're going to see if either you're a fellow or an alum. But this is just as an example. But let's say it's just another community that's specific to a certain topic. If they see that you're a global health professional or an emerging global health professional, then they'll accept you in the group because they know that you have that commonality. So that bear that in mind as well. So this is just one example of different things you can do if you wanted to look at maternal and child health, global health. There are a variety of ways that you can look at that. Okay. And then you can even see like different people and what they're doing. And you can explore professionals. And then I would say, yeah, so follow the companies and different organizations of interest. Maintain your presence. So let's say, for instance, you are part of one of the communities. There are opportunities for you to join in on the conversation, add value to some of the topics, or really get involved and stay visible. That's something that I highly recommend when you are on LinkedIn. People will see you'll gain your visibility. So get involved in the discussions. And I know that there are many things that there's to be discussed and shared in some of these communities. Okay, so let's get back here. Conducting informational interviews. So one of the things that I recommend is reaching out to alumni that are maybe pursuing or they're doing things that you're interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and type in here, University of Illinois at Chicago. So that's the first step. So I'm going to walk you through how to identify alumni currently working in global health. So you go to UIC and then you click alumni, And you can do this with anything. So I'm just going to type in global as a keyword. So now it's going to filter, and it's going to provide me with a list of alumni and where they work that have global health. So they may have had that in their concentration. And then, you know, where they are employed. And then you can scroll down and see different alums. And just take a look at some of their titles, some of their background. Maybe there's certain fellowships that you're interested in. You can even type in the title of a fellowship. Those will pop up, and you can reach out to these individuals. During yesterday's Global Health presentation, I actually searched for, so there's an, I had mentioned World Vision, and I really like her profile, so I'm using it as an example here. So Kelly Brown is one of our graduates, and so she secured an internship at World Vision after she graduated. So she graduated from SPH, from UIC SPH in 2013. So you can look at her career trajectory, and you'll see, you know, her background, but also, you know, how she's moved up within the organization. And she started off as an intern, which I think is amazing. So let's say you wanted, well, I'm connected to her, but let's say, for instance, you wanted to connect. You can click on connect. I should probably show you an example here of how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and click on someone that I'm not connected to. So the way that this would work, let's say, for instance, I want to connect with Jane. I'm going to go ahead and click connect. Now, a lot of times people will just click send now. And this is how you get a lot of connection requests of people that you don't know. And it can be kind of generic. You have to humanize this. So I would say add a note and then customize. So I would say, you know, dear Jane, I came across your profile. I see that you have a background in XYZ. I am currently pursuing my degree in public health. It would be great to connect with you. And then you would send the invitation. So once you are connected to someone, you will be able to see their contact information and their email address. Once you can have that email address, and I would go ahead and follow up with an email thanking them for the connection, as well as asking for an informational interview. Now, again, thank you for connecting with me. You have a very impressive background. I was wondering if we can schedule a brief 25 to 30-minute informational interview over the phone. I'd really like to learn more about your career trajectory, or maybe you could say your experience working at, you know, as a licensed psychologist, or whatever the case. But have a focus on why you want to interview them. And the point of this informational interview is for you to find out information that's important to you. You know, if it's because you're exploring a fellowship, or you're thinking about working in a particular country or a particular organization, you know, what has been their experience, or what are some of the things that they wish they had known prior to pursuing some of these opportunities. So any insight that you can gain can be extremely valuable. So instead of, you know, there's gonna be a lot of research that you'll be doing and exploration, but there's nothing like actually connecting with another human being and learning about their experience, because I think it can really help you make some informed decisions. So this is how I like to navigate the LinkedIn platform. Okay, so now last but not least, I did want to show you, I know I had mentioned it earlier, if you want more information and really dive deep into the different global health topics and how to prepare, I highly recommend that you follow Greg Martin. So he's an MD, MPH, MBA, and he's dynamic. He's a great presenter and great speaker. So he does have a YouTube channel, and he's very interesting, and he covers a lot of different topics. He also interviews different professionals in the field. So you're going to see.
If you're interested in global health or public health, then this channel is for you.
I couldn't have said it better. So he has, again, different type of topics, and I think they're fascinating. So you can just kind of see some of the topics, and he has a section specifically for working in global health, skills and competencies, global health careers. This is one of the ones that I added to the presentation. But you may gain a lot of value from looking at his specific videos because you may have specific interests. So there you go. This is just an overview on ways to prepare and starting to explore your interests or the different types of opportunities that are out there, and then also making sure that you're putting your best foot forward as you are marketing yourself in the areas of interest, that you have that complete package and you're showing your best value and contributions and your strengths, but that also you're making those key connections with people that have gone through the journey or that maybe are going through the journey along with you. The human connection is invaluable. So I highly recommend that regardless of the profession that you're going into. So this concludes today's webinar. Thank you for joining UIC SPH Career Services, and you will also have access to the career resource guide. Have a good day.